All right, let's jump into this right away. I got nothing. Yeah, let's all right, I'm going to share my screen. So basically what's going on is so I don't know. What happened is Gemini, like in the last video, in my last live video, you'll see that I got it to read out these like specific instructions, like was that, you know? And then but the thing is that I got the feeling like probably that's not enough. So what I decided to do was ask. There we go. All right, I'm just checking the audio on my other screen. There we go. And so it works. I'm gonna just turn on that new Taylor Swift song in the background. I just had a chat with somebody, and they were telling me about Taylor Swift's new song "Fate of Ophelia." So I'm just gonna turn that on loop on the background. So I'm gonna be listening. There we go. So I went into the my good buddy Cascade. So it says, "Can you?" This is what I said to Cascade. Can you provide these questions for me to answer one by one? And to so this is the instructions I gave to Gemini. Can you provide these questions for me to answer one by one until we have all the answers, and then you can write a report back to Cascade. After Cascade gets your report, it might ask more questions before asking for your PDR draft document. So then here's the team-based MVP. So after reviewing architect's vision, I need following clarification to build a robust implementable PRD. I've organized these by priority and category. So there's no purpose in going through all these questions, but you can see there's questions. There's 3 questions in the first section. Okay, 3.2, 3.3, 4. All right, lots of questions. So the thing is, I don't like having that amount of questions at once. So then now the last thing is here. So because Gemini already has a pretty good understanding of the product, there's no real point in me to like tell it the same thing that I already told it. What I'm more interested in understanding is like how well does it understand the project so far, and then like what kind of clarification do we need in order for it to be able to create the answers to these questions. So I said, first provide the questions you will ask me, and also provide the answer to the questions you've asked me based on your understanding of the project. If I respond, yes, you're right, you got it, yep, next, or any other positive statement, then move to the next question and use your understanding as the right answer. I'll add my thoughts as needed. So this is what Gemini says.
That exists today. The brainstorm, choose, and objectives
Oh no, sorry, it's actually at the end. How do I get it to start over
modules,
again?
plus the task list page. All data is
Oh,
saved
empty.
only in the browser's local storage. The new 4-tab, team-based paid application is completely separate and hidden from free users. Is this correct?
All right, I wanted to play it again because we want to play it from the beginning.
This is the perfect way to proceed. Thank you for clarifying the process. I will act as the facilitator for this Q&A session. Here is the plan. I will go through Cascade's questions one by one. For each question, I will first state my current understanding of the answer based on our recent, detailed discussion. If my understanding is correct, just say, yes, next, or, you got it, and we will lock in that answer. If I am wrong or missing nuance, please correct me. Your correction will become the new official answer. After we finish, I will compile this Q&A into a comprehensive report for Cascade, which it will use to draft the new PRD version 5.0 and Sprint Plan version 9.0.
That it will use?
Let's begin. Critical. Must answer before any code. Question 1.1. What exactly is in the free version? Is it only the current journey flow? Does it persist data? Is the 4-tab interface hidden? My understanding. The free version is the standalone application that exists today. The brainstorm, choose, and objectives modules, plus the task list page. All data is saved only in the browser's local storage.
Exactly.
The new 4-tab, team-based paid application is completely separate and hidden from free users. Is this correct?
Yes. You say for my heart from the fate of Ophelia. I think it's a loop. It's going to play that song in the background again. What does that sound? It sounds like you too. And then it changes. All right, let's get the audio.
Got it. We'll lock that in as the official answer. Here is the next question from Cascade's list. Question 1.2. What is the upgrade trigger? At what point does a free user see upgrade to team messaging, and does upgrading import their free data? My understanding. The primary trigger is the pain point you described, when a free user finishes one objective and realizes they have to delete their old work to start a new one. This is the key moment we prompt them to upgrade to the paid team plan, which offers persistent, multi-project, and multi-objective support. Regarding their old data, for the initial MVP, upgrading will lead them to a fresh start in the new, team-based app. We will defer a data import feature to a later sprint to keep the MVP simple. Is this correct?
Yeah, so I think that since they're only going to be like, it's basically the thing is that, well, the audio is having a problem. Can you, okay, it looks like the audio is improving. Okay, good. So then the thing is that, yeah, I agree. So like the first initial vision that I can see is that, like, let's say that somebody is on the objectives module. Now, I think that, I mean, maybe this is too complicated, but let's say that there's a couple of different ways that we can attack this problem. One way to attack this problem is to have a button. So currently in the journey module, maybe I'll just take a picture of the screen of one of the pages of the journey module, because that would help you understand what a page looks like in the journey module. So now, but most of the pages of the journey module, they look kind of the same. So maybe instead, what I'll do is I'll take a picture of the first page, the first step of each of the three modules. And then you'll see how there's kind of like a pattern. And then, well, no. So because this first step of the three modules, they look exactly the same. So I'll also, the third module, I'll show you a picture of the last step of the module. And then you'll have an understanding of basically the structure of all the pages. And then with that understanding of the pages, then what you can see is that maybe there's an opportunity, there's a possibility where we can just have a button on those pages, like an additional button. For example, like I'm just uploading the pictures to you right now. So imagine that we're looking at one of these. So you see the button where it says add new task. So all the pages, every single page of the module, there's always this add new task button. And so maybe underneath that task, there can be like another button or another box. Maybe it looks identical and it says that if you would like to save your these steps into an objective, or if you want to create a project, or if you want to save your modules inside of a project, then you need to upgrade to the pro account. So, I mean, I don't know if there should be a difference at this point because, my understanding is that the team version is like, why would you? I guess it doesn't really matter if you have a pro account, like a small team account, then yeah, it's true that you would be able to add people to your team. Now, if there was a pro version that didn't allow you to add people to the team, I don't know where the benefit is because yeah, it's true that okay, so what I realize is that I'm going through these steps of these modules, and then I realize, oh, okay, well, I'm going to lose this information, the text that I write in the section in the question section. I'm going to lose that text, and then once I realize I'm going to lose that text, then it's like, okay, so how do I get that text saved? So then imagine I upgrade to a paid version, but I don't necessarily want to add team members. I mean, what's the point? Because within some period of time, you're going to realize that you can have the team version. And then maybe you want to use the team version even just to manage your own projects. So maybe you add like another one of your email addresses as yourself as a team member. And then, like, for example, in my case, a lot of my team members are going to be AI bots. And so I could create like a fake team member that's not attached to an email. And then, like, what if I want what? So it's not necessarily that I'm adding an AI bot. I'm adding myself, and I'm just putting myself as different team members. So this is related to when I have different endeavors. For example, right now, let's say that I have three endeavors. Like, one is that I want to develop this software, and I'm developing the software with the architect and Cascade. And then, like, another one is that I want to start creating marketing messages. So maybe I use InVideo, and I'm using InVideo in order to create different types of videos for my social media. And then also, I'm making like an online course, and I'm going to add those videos to the paid version, so that when they're in a tab, they can scroll down to the bottom of the tab. They can see a couple of different videos that'll give them some education. So I actually have to film those videos. So now, since I have three different endeavors, maybe in my paid version of the software, I want to make myself a team member. So I want to make three team members. One is called software, another one's called social media, and the other one is called online course. Then in that case, what I'm doing is I can like focus on one objective. So see, the main issue is like, how do I, as the project manager, see, I have access to the task board, but do I also have access to my own rabbit race goal tracker? So then, do I want to have like an overall rabbit race goal tracker for all of my objectives and all of my things where I can see it in one dashboard, or do I want to so that's another question, because let me actually show you a picture of my current rabbit race goal tracker, and what you can see is that, all of the different, I'm like doing five different things. I have five main goals for projects that I'm working on in my life, and each of those projects, I can kind of have like one little dashboard to understand like what is the next little thing I'm going to work on today. So then the question is, how does that work within the app? And then also, how is that related to me as the manager and me as a persona, meaning like the person who's actually going to be doing the subtasks related to a task. So there's a lot of questions around here, but to answer your question directly, I'm just thinking maybe there's a way that we can add a button to one of those module pages, or all the module pages. And then the next question is, at what point does that button appear? Does it appear immediately, or does it appear after the person's been using the website after like a certain period of time? Or is there a specific trigger where that will create like a pop-up or some other way for people to see that, oh, there's a way that I can save my answers inside of inside of an objective, which can persist over time, and I can create different objectives. Yeah, I don't think that's the answer, but what else are you gonna do? Boom, 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 ba, 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 bum. Mm, 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 mm. Mm, 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 mm.
This is a critical strategic clarification. Thank you for this detailed walkthrough. You are 100% correct. My previous assumption that the team model was for managing other, separate people was wrong. I was thinking of a traditional B2B SaaS product. Your vision is something different and, frankly, much more interesting. A productivity dashboard for a team of one. My new understanding, the persona model. I understand now. The core user is a single, busy professional, a manager, a creator, an entrepreneur, who is juggling multiple projects. The team members are not necessarily other people, but personas or endeavors that this single user creates to organize their own work. Manager persona, U, uses the scoreboard, tab 3, for a high-level overview of all tasks across all projects. Worker personas, also U create software or social media or online course personas. The Rabbit Race Goal Tracker, tab 4, is the personal dashboard for each of these personas, or a combined dashboard, where you break tasks into subtasks and use the dial to prioritize your own day. This is a crucial distinction. We are not building a complex system for inviting and managing other people's accounts right now. We are building a power user tool that allows one person to manage multiple, persistent projects and personas. This completely changes our immediate priorities. The work on billing and a simple account page was premature, as it was based on the wrong architecture. Your questions answered. You've raised the key questions we must answer to design this correctly. 1. The upgrade trigger. How to sell it. You're asking the best way to show the user the value of upgrading. My recommendation is to use a contextual trigger. The aha moment. As you said, the trigger is when the user finishes their first objective in the free version and realizes they have to delete their work to start a new one. The UI solution, instead of a generic upgrade button, when they click to a new project and start another one, clicking Save to Project is the Buy button. This takes them to the sign up and payment flow. It directly sells the solution, persistent, multi-objective support, at the exact moment they feel the pain. 2. The management board, scoreboard versus RRGT. My answer: yes, as the manager, you should have access to both. The scoreboard, tab 3, is your 10,000-foot view of all tasks for a specific objective. The RRGT, tab 4, is your personal, daily, get-to-work dashboard. It's where you manage the subtasks and use the dial.
Okay, I feel like there's a little bit of misunderstanding here. Let's just imagine it from me as a user. First of all, when I'm using the free app, there is nowhere that says that I've completed my first objective. So basically, all there is it has the opportunity to look at these different pages and to look at these different questions and to go through these different modules. And then there's also the task list management page. And then, but there's not really any time when I'm going to say, okay, I just completed the objective. There's no way for a user to actually have that feeling of completion. Why? Because well, I don't know. I mean, there's only two possibilities, really. Three possibilities. One possibility is if they are using one of the modules and then they go back to the first step of one of the modules and then they want to change the text in one of the modules. And then suddenly they realize that they're like the old text is not saved. So it's at this point when they realize that, like, okay, we have a problem because the text in the module is not being saved. It's saved in my browser, and then like I'm not going to have access to it in the future. So that's one potential area when a button can suddenly appear as soon as like they try to change the text for the first time. That might be, I don't know how stable or unstable that type of additional button. Like the as soon as somebody changes the text for the first time, suddenly a button appears that says if you'd like to save, if you want to make your data persistent, or if you want to save your input to an objective, then click here, and then that would take you to like a sales page that shows the what the paid version can do, how it's different from the free version. Second one is if, like, let's say that you go through all of the module, there's 17 module pages, and you go through all 17 module pages. And then when you finish the all 17 module pages, it says like, okay, so next time you go through the modules, then you're gonna have a problem because you're gonna lose your text if you try to if you try to update the text with new text. So that's another possibility, is that it's like there's a pop-up that says, hey, like if you want to keep access to you still have all of your text saved, but in the future, if you change that text, then you're going to lose that text. So if you'd like to have the pro version, then you'll be able to save all of your text within specific objectives, and then you're able to save those objectives within projects. Or there's so because the other problem is like on the task management page that you'll never actually going to get through, like, there's always people adding tasks to the task list, and then maybe they actually start the next objective without actually having a formal, we're starting another objective type of behavior. They start using like the brainstorming module again, and then but there's still some latent tasks on the task list. So there's no way to understand from the task list if they've actually completed the objective. So there's a lot of issues related to when is it that they're going to see some kind of pop-up, and when is it that they're going to see some kind of button, and when is it that they're going to recognize that they've completed an objective. So that's the first point. The second point is that when I talk about the team version, when you can add 10 team players, let's talk about two different workflows. So the first workflow is like, let's say I create a project, and the project is the website, like creating the website. The second project number two is creating social media. Project number three is creating the online videos. And then, all right, so within the website, let's say that we create an objective, and then we go through the brainstorming process for like coming up with some tasks. So then we go to the task page, and then we're writing in some tasks related to the project number one, which is getting the website completed. And then, so now that we have some tasks listed, then it also has a rabbit race goal tracker. Now the question is, who's that rabbit race goal tracker for? So I mean, I guess what I'm saying is, since I own the project, and I own the objective, and I am the manager of this task management page, then I also would have like my own, um, like I don't necessarily have my own rabbit race goal tracker for myself until I've added a task to the task list, which is assigned to me. As soon as I assign a task to the task list, which is assigned to me, then the rabbit race goal tracker would appear. So then the next question is, all right, well, can I add something to the rabbit race goal tracker which does not belong to the task list? So other people, if I add somebody to the team, like one of my members of my team at work, like a real human, like are they going to be able to see my rabbit race goal tracker? And also, are they going to be able to see, like, so this is also about permissions. So then am I going to allow other people who are part of that objective to be able to have access to being able to see the tasks, all the tasks on the list, or are they only seeing their tasks on the list? So then that goes back to the permissions about, like, can team members see only their own tasks, or can they see the tasks of all the team members? And then do all the team members also include me, or do they only see the tasks of certain team members? So then there's another difficulty when it comes to how do we have groups, so that I can give some kind of permission to certain groups. And then, well, if you don't want to create groups, then it's more simple, since there's only 10 people on a team. So if we talk about only the simple app where there's only 10 people on a team, let's focus on like specific permissions. So then if we have some permissions related to a specific team member when it comes to the task management page, then what we're going to do is we're going to outline, like, can this team member see the tasks of other team members? All right. So now the other issue is, now let's say that I add a team member. So I want to add a team member to my list, like a real human. This person's going to help me to do the social media. So then what happens is I give them some permission so that they can see the objective. They can also add information to the different modules in the objectives module page. And then I call them on the phone. And so then, like, we do we're chatting on the phone, and then they have the app open on their computer. I have the app on my computer. So then I say, hey, let's jump into the brainstorming module. So he can see the brainstorming module on his screen. I can also see. The thing is that his text, it doesn't delete my text, and my text does not delete his text. It just gets added in different parts of the text box. And so, like, the text, it simultaneously adds text to the text box, and I can see it being added to the text box from my end. So now after they finish writing like a paragraph, then I that paragraph and I can delete it. As soon as I delete it, then on from their end, when they look at that side, they're also seeing that paragraph is deleted. So on their end, when they see like if they wrote a paragraph and then I can see the paragraph from my end on my computer, then I like highlight that paragraph and delete it. Then at the same time, they would see that that paragraph just got deleted from their end. So there's real time editing and real time adding and deleting, and we can see each other as we're adding and deleting text based on what we're writing and what we're deleting. And also, we can also delete or edit the other person's work as it appears on our screens. Now, all right, so then the question is like, well, what if we want to add some, like, what if we want to keep older versions of the text for the same objective? In that case, I would suggest that, well, the way that Google Docs does it is that they have some kind of historical um, ability to go back to previous versions of the text. And I think that in my app, I don't want to have this functionality. I don't want them to be able to go back and access previous edited versions of the same text. I think that only the current version of the text should be saved. And if they want to create different text for the same objective, they would have to create a new objective. And then under the new objective, even if it's like a similar name, or let's say it's like 1.0 and then 1.1 of that objective, then they could keep the 1.0 version as the historical copy of that objective. And they can keep the 1.1 version as the updated version of the objective. All right, so then they go to the task board and they start making tasks. So then I'm going to assign some tasks to the other person on the phone, and then I'm going to assign some tasks to myself. And then, but in the permissions, I don't allow them to see my tasks. So that person can only see their tasks. And then their tasks would also at the same time populate their Rabbit Race goal tracker. So they would have access to the fourth tab and be able to start creating subtasks. Now, when I go to my fourth tab as the manager, then I would have to have some kind of ability to create a filter to be able to filter for projects, and also an ability to filter for objectives, and then also an ability to filter for team members. So for example, maybe I'm only looking at the tasks. So maybe so my overall view is my ability to see all of my tasks related to all of my projects and all of my objectives, or I could see only tasks related to one project, or I could see like only tasks that are related to one objective within one project. Now, suddenly I just realized that like, okay, so actually I don't like I have different projects, but I want to have like a separate page. So maybe I don't want to have the Rabbit Race goal tracker for just me. So what if I want to create like an AI? So I add someone to my team who's not a real person. It's just my representation of my relationship with some AI chatbots. So let's say that I create one called NVIDIA. So NVIDIA is going to be a team member. I'm going to add them to the project for creating social media posts. And then I'm going to give some specific tasks to NVIDIA because it represents my relationship with that AI video production tool. And then NVIDIA, so I know it says NVIDIA in the text, but I mean NVIDIO. It's a different app. NVIDIO it's a website where I can use AI to create some AI videos and things like that. So I don't know if you're going to get the spelling correct, but actually it wants to be in video rather than NVIDIA. Okay, anyway, so well, the point is that like so I want to have the ability to like look at the project. Now, the project, maybe there's some elements of the project that I'm thinking about that I have to do myself. And then also there's some elements that I would need the AI bot to do. And so um, that means that I want one of my team members to be like a generic AI. So it's actually me that's going to be controlling the information. And then maybe I'm going to be using Gemini to brainstorm with some of the text that I'm going to add into the modules in the objectives tab. And then I might be brainstorming with Gemini to add stuff to the task list about what type of work I'm going to ask myself to do and NVIDIA to do related to that objective and that project. And then the Rabbit Race goal tracker is going to be specifically what are like the specific things that I need like what is the output that I need to create with the NVIDIA app in order to create videos for social media. And then at that point, like, so the issue is I want to be able to like look at my own rabbit race goal tracker for things that I'm trying to do, and then I also want to be able to look at the rabbit race goal tracker specifically for the things that I want NVIDIA to do when I'm working with it.
This is a crucial clarification. Thank you. My previous assumptions were incorrect, and your explanation of the team of one, using personas, and the real-time collaboration requirement is the exact information I was missing. I am halting my previous line of thinking. We will now re-architect the paid MVP around this new, much clearer vision. My new understanding, the hybrid team model. Let me confirm my new understanding based on your detailed walkthrough. The core problem. The free app is great for one objective but fails when a user wants to A. Start a new objective without losing their old work, or B. Collaborate with others. This data loss fear is our primary upgrade trigger. The solution, paid app, a 4-tab dashboard that provides persistence, project management, and collaboration. The team concept, critical. A team member is not just another person. A manager can add 2 types of members to their team. Real people, invited via email, e.g., bob@work.com, who get their own login, can co-edit modules in real time, and have their own RRGT. Virtual personas, simple labels created by the manager, e.g., software, marketing, in video, that don't have a login. The manager uses these to assign tasks to themselves to stay organized. The data flow, tab 1, projects. Manager creates projects and manages the list of team members, both real and virtual. This is where the granular permissions grid lives. Tab 2, objectives. A user, manager or real team member, selects a project, then edits objectives within it. This page must support real-time, Google Docs style collaboration, minus version history. Tab 3, scoreboard. A manager selects a project, objective and assigns tasks from its scoreboard to any team member, real or virtual. Tab 4, RRGT. A real team member sees only tasks assigned to them. The manager sees a filterable view of all RRGTs, their own, their virtual personas, and their real team members. Status updates on the RRGT, from anyone, sync back to the main scoreboard. This hybrid team model, real people plus virtual personas, is the core architectural concept we will build around. This new vision introduces 2 significant and exciting technical challenges that were not in our previous plan. Real-time collaboration. Tab 2, the Google Docs style editing is a major feature. We will need to use WebSockets, e.g., Supabase real-time, link to socket.io, to broadcast content changes between all users viewing the same objective. Granular permissions. In tab 1, the table of checkboxes you described for permissions is a complex and powerful system. This will require a sophisticated database design to link users to projects, objectives, and specific actions. View, edit, delete. Given these new requirements, the billing and account pages we were about to build are no longer the immediate priority. The database schema for teams and permissions is now the most critical foundational work. Let's redefine the MVP, a new Q&A. You are right, we must walk through this before asking Cascade to build. Let's start over with the Q&A, but this time with the correct vision. Here is the first question. Question 1. The team member concept. My new understanding is that a team member can be one of two types: a real person, invited via email, gets their own login, can collaborate in real time. A virtual persona, just a text label, like software or in video, created by the manager for their own organization, has no login. When a manager assigns a task on the scoreboard, the Assign To drop-down should show a list of both real people and virtual personas. Is this core concept of a hybrid, real person, virtual persona team correct?
Don't care how you've been. Well, remind of the sleepless nights you've been dreaming of Ophelia.
Excellent. That's a critical architectural decision, and it's now locked in. The hybrid team, real people plus virtual personas, model is our foundation. Let's move to the next set of questions, which are about the process of inviting those real people to the team. Question 2.1 and 2.2, the invitation flow. What is the exact user experience for a manager inviting a new, real person to their team, and what does that person experience? My understanding: the manager goes to tab 1, Projects, and finds the team management grid. They click an Invite Team Member button. A form appears. The manager enters the person's email address and name. Crucially, in this same form, the manager sets all the granular permissions for that user, e.g., checking boxes for View Project A, Edit Scoreboard B, etc. The manager hits Send Invite. The new member receives an email with a unique link. When they click the link, they are taken to a sign-up page where they set their own password to create their account and join the team. Is this correct?
Yes, that's basically correct. And I don't know if you want to have some a new another question is going to address this issue, but I can see that there is this form, and I don't necessarily think that you need to click an invite member button. What I think is that in the there could be, so basically what's going to happen is there's going to be some columns, and then in the first column it's going to be the name of your 10 team members, and if there isn't it could be a blank line, so there's going to be 10 rows. And when you first, as a manager, when you first open up the paid version, then all 10 are going to be empty. And so then what you can do is you can put a name in the under the first column, and then under the second column is going to be the objectives tab, and then the objectives tab, if you click the objectives tab, it's going to open up into more tabs. For example, it's going to, well, I don't know. So in this tab, what do I want? No, the first tab, the first column is going to be the projects tab. So I'm going to click there's going to be like a what do you call it when you click this little arrow button? And then the arrow button, when you click the arrow button in the first row, the second column, it's going to say projects. It's going to be the same as the projects tab, but there's going to be this little arrow icon. And then when the arrow icon is pointed down, then it's just a single column. But then when you click the arrow column, when you click the arrow, it's going to point to the right, and then more columns are going to appear. And then in those columns, what are we going to do? So the what's going to happen is, I don't know. So this is where I'm a little bit confused, because we want to be able to enable that. Let's say that the first person is like a virtual person that I've added. So I've added their name, and then I need to give them permissions. So first, probably if I don't click the arrow button, then there's just going to be one little box. That box, it is a what? So let's say that it's a drop down menu. So let's say that when the second column, the projects column, is collapsed, then there's going to be a drop down menu in each of the rows, and then if I click that drop down menu, it's going to say can see all projects, and then can edit all projects, and then yeah, that's it. Because basically, oh, and then also can add new projects. So that's it. So there's basically three: can see all projects, can edit all projects, and can add new projects. That's going to give permission to that person to be able to add new projects and to be able to edit and see all projects. So, but then if you click the button at the arrow button, the arrow button where there's two lines, it doesn't have the long part of the shaft of the arrow, but it just has the two parts of like a triangle, the top two lines of a triangle. So then you click that, and then it points to the right, and then some new columns open up. And then, well, then the question is, okay, so yeah, so I'm just wondering how that's going to work, because basically what I want is, so we're going to give, we want, so one column is going to be view, can view, like view, and then the next column that is expanded would be like edit, and then the next column would be add. So then in that case, what would happen is you'd click underneath of, like, let's say that I want to enable them only to be able to view like certain projects. So then so that I would click the button inside of that cell. So in this case, let's say that it's the third column. After the column 2 has been expanded, column number 3 would be view, or it'd be bit, or it'd be add. Now, I guess with projects, uh, yeah. So anyway, let's just focus on add and edit. So with add, then what I'm going to do is, well, I guess you wouldn't really need to have permissions. Yeah, okay. So under add, then it's only one box, because either it's yes or no. You can add new projects or you cannot add new projects. And then so then column number 4 then would be view. So then when I click that button, it's going to open up a pop-up, and the pop-up is going to list all of the projects that are available for this person's account that haven't been archived. And then at the bottom, there is also a button that says archive in the pop-up. So if you click the archive button, then a new pop-up will appear, which would be, no, the same pop-up, but it would just change the content, and then it would show all of the archive projects. And then at the bottom, on that screen, there would also be like go back to projects, go back to current projects. So that if I click the go back to current projects, then it would show me the current projects in the pop-up. And then I would be able to, there would be like checkboxes next to the names of all the projects. So that I would click all of the projects which I want that person to be able to view. And then I could click archive, and then I could go to all the projects I want them to be able to view in the archive. And then I would click save, and then the pop-up would disappear. Then in the 5th column, that would be like edit. So then I would click the button underneath the edit column, and then that would open up a pop-up, and then it would show the same project. So then there would be like a little checkbox next to all of the current projects. Then I would be able to click and then give permission for that person to be able to edit all of the current projects or some of the current projects. And then, yeah, and then I could also click like archived, and then it would change the screen to show all the archive projects in that pop-up, and then I would give them the ability to edit archive projects, and then I would click save, and then I would go back to column number 2 and click the arrow button, and then it would close the column number 3, 4, and 5. And then the next column, so then once it's collapsed, then column number 3 would be objectives, and then it would have the same thing. So basically, if I click there would be one box, which means that like if you click that box, which is in objectives, like, so it means that, I don't know. So then the question is like, all right, so if there's only one box when the column is not expanded, does that mean that I can view and also edit all objectives? I think that's the best way. So if you click that button, it means that they can view and they can edit all objectives. But then if you click the expand box, then it's going to show three options. There's going to be the view, and then there's going to be the no, there's going to be add, and then there's going to be view, and then there's going to be edit. So add is just one box. Yes, I can add objectives. And then the view and edit is the same thing I just mentioned. So then the question is like, so I mean, this is more granular. It's asking. So this would be the case. Well, okay. So let's say that this person has been given permission to edit certain projects and also to view certain projects. So then when they expand out this objectives column, then it would mean that there are already some pre-populated boxes, meaning that like there's going to be a list of objectives, which means that like all objectives which are in all projects, is that what's going to be visible? Or is there another way to show this pop-up so that it's easier to manage all of the data? For example, if somebody has 100 projects and 1,000 objectives, how are they going to be able to manage the data so that it's easier to control the permissions? But that's the basic structure that I'm trying to explain. And then the same thing would be for the task list page, where the people would have the ability to see, like they would have permission. If you click that box without expanding the column for the task page, then they would be able to see and edit all tasks. So this would be like God mode, where they have the same permissions as the manager who is the owner of the account. But then if you click the arrow in the top of the column, then it would open up three more columns. And then it's like, okay, so then they can, what can they do? They can view which task boards are they able to view, which task boards are they able to edit. Now, in this case, we don't need anything about adding a new task board because a task board is assigned to an objective. And then finally is the Rabbit Race Goal Tracker tab, a column. So in the Rabbit Race Goal Tracker tab, then it means like, okay, so everybody is assigned a Rabbit Race Goal Tracker, which is going to be attached to their name, and it's attached to their tasks. Okay, so now we're back to the task list. So then the question is, we have an additional question, which is also about view. Okay, so when we talk about view, then they can see their own tasks. They can see the tasks of all the people in that task list. They can see all the people. They can see all the tasks in that task list, and also, you saved my heart from the fate of Ophelia. Dun, 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 dun. You calling on a megaphone. You wanna see me all alone. As legend has you are quite the pyro. You light the match and watch it blow. All right, let's see what this has to say.
Okay, this is a much clearer and more powerful vision. You are correct. My previous model of a simple invite form was wrong. I understand now. We are building a permission grid as the central interface for team management. This grid is always visible in the Projects tab, tab 1, with a row for each team member, real or virtual. Let me confirm my new understanding of this grid's functionality. My new understanding: the permission grid. The grid has columns for each major resource: projects, objectives, tasks. These columns have two states: collapsed. This shows a simple permission setting, like a single drop-down or checkbox for can edit all projects or can view all projects. This is the God mode toggle. Expanded. Clicking an arrow expands the column into sub-columns for granular control: add, view, and edit. The add sub-column is a simple yes, no checkbox, e.g., can this person create new projects? The view and edit sub-columns have buttons that, when clicked, open a pop-up modal. This modal lists all available items, e.g., all 100 projects, with checkboxes, allowing the manager to grant, view, or edit permissions for specific items. You also correctly identified a key UX challenge. This modal must be scalable. It will need a search, filter bar, and a toggle to switch between current projects and archived projects. After the manager has set all permissions in the grid, they enter the person's email in the last column and click Send Invite. The team member then gets the link to set their password. This is a much more robust and scalable system. My understanding is now updated. Team-based MVP design session, Q&A. Now that I have a clear picture of the how, the grid, let's lock in the what, the data relationships this grid will control. Question 3.1. Projects left-right arrow objectives. You mentioned that in tab 2, a user would select a project, and it would show the objectives for that project. This implies a relationship. My understanding: a project can have many objectives, a one-to-many relationship. An objective can only belong to one project. For example, the new landing page objective cannot be in both the website redesign project and the Q4 marketing project. It would belong to only one. Is this correct?
Dun, 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 dun. Measure. All right, I can't do this right now. I gotta go outside with the dog. So let's take a little break and we'll catch up with you guys later.